Hello, in this tutorial series we're gonna do some Webflow analytics implementations. I'm going to install the Google Analytics 4, the new version, because the old Universal Analytics is soon gone. I will install the Facebook Pixel or the Meta Pixel, and I will add some Google Ads conversions. So let's get started. Alright, so now I have a new fresh Webflow, and before I start with my Google Analytics, I'm actually gonna install Google Tag Manager. So very quick kind of look into Google Tag Manager. Google Tag Manager is one place where I can implement multiple tags like Google Analytics or Google Ads conversion or Facebook Meta Pixel, the pixel, or conversions for content view, form submit, e-commerce purchase. All of those different tags need one place where they can be easily managed, and that is Google Tag Manager. So if you head over to Google Tag Manager, create a new account and start creating a new container, then you will be able to follow up. Alright, so I'm gonna grab my URL and I'm gonna name my container my URL. I'm gonna click web because this is a web, not iOS or Android or anything like that. Great. So now I'm gonna copy this and let's install it to Webflow. All right, next let's install it to Webflow. So I'm gonna click here, go to Site Settings, Custom Code. Now bear in mind, in 2023, you must have a paid version to be able to access custom code. I'm gonna copy paste the Google Tag Manager code. So this code from Google Tag Manager goes here to head. Save changes. And I'm also gonna publish because I wanna do some debugging. All right, now that I have Google Tag Manager installed and the Webflow project published, I'm gonna go to Tag Manager and click Preview because I wanna test to make sure that the the Tag Manager is installed. So here I will add my Webflow domain address and click Connect. So this is a very useful tool, the Tag Assistant. For this, it's recommended to use the Google Tag Assistant Companion Chrome extension. That kind of makes this work a little bit better. So in this page, I have the Tag Assistant connected, and in this tab, I can see any tags that are firing. And here we will soon install Google Analytics, Meta Pixel, Google Ads conversion, maybe TikTok Pixel, and any others you ask for. So in Tag Assistant, we can now see that the Google Tag Manager has been installed correctly. Next, let's create a Google Analytics account and connect it to our Webflow website using the Google Tag Manager. So once you log into Google Analytics with your Gmail or whatever, you will first create an account, and to that account you will create a property. So I already have the Google Analytics set up, so I'm gonna head to creating property. It should be pretty easy for you to get to this part when you just start using Google Analytics. So create property. Property name, I'm gonna use the Webflow URL. Check your time zone, currency, etc. Show advanced options. There's no reason to create Universal Analytics properties anymore because they will apparently soon stop working, which is kind of a shame. Okay, I'm just gonna run through this. Feel free to select what makes sense. Not sure if these make much of a difference, but I'm gonna select these two. Now go for web because it's a web thing, and again add your website URL here. I'm gonna name the stream that one as well. For the enhanced measurement, you can click here to see what these measure. So these Google Analytics normally tracks things like page views, how many times people are, how much time they spend on the website, how they navigate. But there are these new enhanced things normally, or previously, Google Tag Manager was required for these. So you can choose which one you need. I'm actually nowadays leaning more towards not using these unless I actually need them. So I don't like to capture a lot of data just in case I might need it someday, because that kind of creates a mess. To avoid that mess, I like disabling. One thing that I'm gonna keep for myself is the video engagement. I like being able to see how much people watch my videos, because I make a lot of videos and embed them in my websites. So this is very easy to switch, turn back on, and or turn it off later. So don't stress about it that much. Create stream, and now click the. Okay, so I wanna kind of click this one. For some reason it didn't let me. It went to this thing. Either way, you want to copy this. Okay, so now that we have created our Google Analytics 4 property, so this is where the data starts flowing in, we're gonna add it to our Google Tag Manager. So just a quick note that it is also possible to click here in the view tag instructions and click install manually, and you could just add this code here on the head code in your Webflow. So this is a kind of a valid way to install Google Analytics to Webflow as well. However, I really recommend, if you're in any way interested in using your analytics for something custom, or just want to have like a professional setup, is to use it via Google Tag Manager. This will always also keep your tag setup very nice and clean, and there are a lot of other benefits as well. So I'm gonna skip this, and again I'm gonna just copy this, head to my Google Tag Manager, and add my Google Analytics using the Tag Manager. Head over to Tags, click New, click this box, select Google Analytics 4 configuration. So this is kind of the base for Google Analytics, but it also sends the page view. So this will also be used for other events. So you only need to define this once in this place, but it will also kind of start tracking. I'm gonna name the tag Google Analytics 4 GA4 configuration. It doesn't matter how you name this, it could just be GA4 configuration, and I'm gonna trigger this on all pages. So in Google Tag Manager there are triggers and tags. If this, then that. If anyone looks at any page, we will fire the Google Analytics 4 page view and the other kind of base tracking. Now click Save, and I'm again gonna click the preview. Click Continue. Here we can see the website. So in our Tag Assistant, which sees or helps us kind of see which tags are being fired on this tab, we can now see that the Google Analytics has been installed and the page view has been sent. Let's see if we can actually see this in real time in Google Analytics. This is pretty cool. All right, let's see. Okay, click Next. Data collection is pending. We don't care about this. Continue to Home. And now click Admin. Scroll down on your newly created property until you find Debug view above Google Analytics links and below the data deletion requests. Click the debug, and after a little while, as long as you have your Tag Assistant Chrome extension and in the same kind of Chrome window in a different tab, you have your Tag Assistant running, and this tab where you're kind of looking at the page connected to the Tag Assistant, you should start seeing these things that happen on your Webflow website. So now we can see in real time that the Webflow and Google Analytics 4 are installed properly. Okay, let's quickly add a few Google Analytics 4 extra events so you will very much kind of get a real-life example of how Google Analytics 4 would be used. So I'm gonna quickly track a funnel. So I'm gonna track views of the landing page, or let's say clicks that lead to the landing page, the visit of the landing page, and then something like a form submit on the landing page. I'm gonna create a funnel. So in Google Tag Manager, I'm gonna go to variables. So this is the click tracking. And I'm gonna click configure for the built-in variables. I'm gonna look for click, and I'm just gonna select all of these. Great. Let's head over to triggers, click new, click this one, and get click link clicks. Yes, let's go with that one. So let's click here. This trigger fires on some link clicks. So, and I'm gonna use the click URL contains landing page. So, okay, I think this is gonna work nicely. We will soon test it. Then I'm gonna create a tag. I'm gonna create a Google Analytics 4 event tag. So we have the configuration. We only need that one time. So let's create an event for the click. Here, choose the analytics configuration. So it's sending to your analytics account, and event name I'm gonna call click. Trigger, it will be triggered on click landing page. I'm gonna click save. We're gonna name it click landing page GA4 event. Okay. I'm again gonna preview, so let's test if our click event is being sent to Google Analytics 4. This is so exciting. Okay, so now you kind of get to see how this tag assistant works. This will show the tags being firing. Here we will interact with the website just like a normal visitor would. So as you can see, the configuration for Google Analytics is fired, so it's working, but the click hasn't been fired because, well, we haven't clicked anything yet. So here, let's click landing page. And now you can see that here on the previous page, link click event happened, and the tag Google Analytics tag that sends the event was fired. Heading over to Google Analytics debug view, we can here now see the clicks. I actually run a few tests while I had the video paused, and here you can see click happened on this location for this page title. Now for the Google Analytics event, we can also add kind of extra stuff. We can add more parameters to it. So I'm gonna click. This isn't something I would use in real life, but you get the idea. So we can add like type of click, landing page link, something like that. All right, testing again. So I'm again gonna click on the landing page. So now we can see that we are sending some parameters with the click. And if we take a look at the real-time debug view here in Google Analytics, so this is the debug view again, we can see that we are telling the type of click is landing page link. Another thing we could be interested in is a visit to the landing page, even if they don't click our links to get there. Maybe they land in via Google. So let's make another event for that. Head over to triggers, new, page view, some page views, and the page path contains whatever this is. I'm going to use the landing page here. So whenever a page is viewed with this kind of part of the URL after the domain, then it's going to fire our trigger. I'm actually going to click the landing page click tag, and I'm going to just make a copy of it. GA4 page view for the landing page. And I'm gonna use a view content. Not sure if Google Analytics actually has this, but this is just for demo, kind of get you the rough idea. For the trigger, I'm gonna choose page view landing page. Click save. And I'm gonna preview again. So I think you're probably now getting the idea on how Google Tag Manager, Google Analytics works. We can create triggers, and those triggers will fire tags. All right, so here again we can see landing page view has not been fired, but when we click the landing page, so that should now do both click landing page and also landing page view was also fired one time. And we should soon see the click and the view content in Google Analytics 4. I'm gonna add a quick little form and conversion track the form. So this is the most real life example. So Tally is the best form builder at the moment, so I always recommend using that. I'm gonna make a very simple form, just asking for email. I'm gonna publish it. I'm gonna share it as an embed. Get the code, copy this. So I added the Tally iframe to my website here. This one is a little bit more complicated, so I will add a listener tag that's gonna listen for those Tally submit events, and it's gonna fire another trigger. So I'm gonna fire this in all pages, and it's gonna listen using JavaScript for an iframe form, the Tally form. So this is kind of an advanced thing, but I want to show a real life example like this one. Next, I'll make a trigger, and this one is going to be custom event. So this is the name from my listener tag. Again, this may be a little bit complicated, but don't worry, you will get the general idea. So I'm gonna click preview, or actually I'm gonna make another Google Analytics 4 copy of either of those events. Call it Tally form, call it form, submit, get rid of this one, and I'm gonna trigger this one on the Tally form submit trigger. And then I'm gonna head to preview. All right, I did one little edit, so now heading to preview. And now we can kind of see all of those tags being fired. So I'm gonna fill the form. So actually this is not on the landing page, but either way, I'm gonna click submit. In Tag Assistant, we can see tally form submit. So Google Analytics 4 event tally form succeeded, and we'll be soon seeing it in the real-time view. So form submit event happened on this location. All right, so I'm actually gonna turn this now into a conversion. So this is just an event. There are tons of events, page views and scrolls and whatever. But we are interested in this action because it's a valuable action. So we're gonna head over to conversions, new conversion event, add our form submit here, click save. And then I'm gonna head back to debug view and I'm gonna run a new test. Let's see if this works. It sometimes takes a little while. Yes, so now you can see the form submit is no longer a normal event, it's a conversion. So these are the conversion events. So perfect. If you have been if you managed to follow up until now, then awesome. All right, now let's do Google Ads. In Google Ads, I'm gonna look for conversions here. I'm just gonna search and I'm gonna go to goals and conversions, the settings. So let's make a form submit conversion. So we gotta actually head over to summary, new conversion action, website, add our website here, let Google Ads scan it, and I'm gonna add conversion action manually. So I'm gonna go with leads and I'm gonna use submit lead form. I'm not gonna use a value for this conversion, and I'm interested in the first one because if the same person kind of keeps filling the form, they are not that valuable. Click done. Click save and continue. Click use Google Tag Manager, and now let's head over to Google Tag Manager. I'm gonna put these tabs side by side. So I'm gonna go for a new tag, and now you kind of start to understand even deeper why Google Tag Manager is so useful. So I'm gonna click choose tag, Google Ads conversion tracking. So conversion ID, we just copied from Google Ads, and the conversion label. So the conversion ID is kind of like it's like the same for your account always, pretty much. And this is like the specific conversion. So if you have like purchase and form submit and I don't know, phone calls, whatever, this is the specific ID for the form conversion we just created. So that's the conversion label. And I'm not gonna bother with any of these other things. For the trigger, now again, if you're new to Google Tag Manager, this is where you kind of really start to understand why it's so useful. So remember the tally form submit trigger we created for our Google Analytics event. So we can now use the same trigger, and the same trigger will fire multiple tags. So I'm gonna call this Google Ads conversion tracking form submit. My namings are a little bit all over the place, but it doesn't matter. I'm gonna head to preview. And now this is kind of trickier than the Google Analytics debug view, because in debug view we can continuously do things all over and over again until we feel that they are perfect. Google Ads is much more of a simple tool. So here, the lead form submit we just created looks like it is inactive. So what it says here, Google Ads hasn't verified the tag yet. Basically, they have never heard of a conversion with this specific conversion label. So it hasn't been sent yet. Okay, actually, let's add the conversion linker tag. So the conversion linker tag is something that kind of makes the Google Ads conversions work. So it should be fired on all pages. Okay, now let's preview this and fill out our form again. Okay. All right, so I'm now submitting the form, and if everything goes like it should, we are now using the same trigger to fire two tags. The Google Analytics 4 tag and the Google Ads conversion. So this is now beginning to look somewhat like a professional conversion tracking setup. Okay, heading over to Google Analytics, what we want to happen is that this lead form submit, remember the conversion we created here in Google Ads like a minute ago, we want this to turn from inactive to kind of gray, no reason conversions. So we don't want it to stay inactive. And that's exactly what happened. So the Google Ads kind of received the conversion from our Google Tag Manager, and it now knows that this is receiving conversions. So that wasn't an actual conversion. Why? Well, because we did not click on a Google ad before we clicked or submitted the form. However, in our test mode, it still sent the event to Google Ads, so Google Ads now knows that it's working, and you know that it's working. So this is pretty cool. All right, now let's install the Metapixel or the Facebook Pixel. So head over to Facebook Business Manager. If you haven't got one, please create one, and then go for all tools and events manager. All right, so the Meta UI is pretty messy. It's pretty tricky. I had to look, and this is always the case. Meta user interface, you can expect that this will change every day, and the places where you used to find things are no longer there. Either way, you will try your best to find data sources and pixels, and you will create a pixel. So I'm just gonna call it my website name. Okay, set up pixel now. Manually add pixel code to website. Copy this, head over to Google Tag Manager, click New. And now we're going to use the custom HTML. We're going to add the metapixel triggered again on all pages. So anyone who visits will get the metapixel. So let's try that out. All right, so let's see, window is loaded. And we can see that the metapixel code was fired one time. Let's see if we click here. So this is the metapixel helper. It's a Chrome extension you can get to kind of quickly see the status of your metapixel, and we can see that the page view was sent, so the metapixel is working correctly. One tip, make sure to, if you use ad block extensions for Chrome, for example, make sure that you will disable it on your website when debugging these pixels and analytics parts. Probably should have mentioned that before, but especially important for the metapixel. Now here where I created my pixel on Facebook business, I'm gonna click open in Events Manager. So the Events Manager is quite similar to the real-time debug view of Google Analytics 4. We will be able to go to test events, and this is a little kind of a flimsy thing, so I will try and add my website here, open it, and hopefully it's not working. This is really annoying and flimsy. So the problem is that because I'm in this debug view, I haven't published my Google Tag Manager container yet. So the metapixel is only kind of working for my own tests. I have not published this to be live for all visitors because I'm still working on my setup. All right, let's see if we can still get some events flowing in. One thing that I like to do is just send a test event through the console, and that usually creates the connection. I'll try and remember to send you the code for the test event. So now we can see that in real time, we can just send events here, and we can see them in real time, just like what we did with the Google Analytics debug view. All right, so now for probably like a final step, I'm gonna create a tag, a third tag for my form, where I will send the metapixel event. I gotta check this really quickly. Contact, I think there we want a lead. Yes. Let me check this really quickly. So this is also, instead of pausing, I actually want to show you what I'm doing. So I'm grabbing the event from the Facebook documentation. I'm gonna add this to my Google Tag Manager. So you could create Google Tag Manager tags for all of these: donate, contact, complete registration, add to cart, all of this stuff. So in Google Tag Manager, I'm gonna how about I just duplicate the metapixel base. So I'm gonna make a copy. So metapixel form submit lead. Okay, something like this. So I'm gonna make a script tag because this is JavaScript, so it needs to be within this script tag. And it's pretty simple. Basically, this is just telling Facebook, hey, track this lead thing. And this is, as you can see, very much the same thing as our test event. It's just telling Facebook, hey, please track event within this name. All right, again, I clicked preview. So now let's run one more test. Tag assistant, tally form submit. All right, I forgot to set the trigger correctly, so I had to go back to my metapixel lead. And here in triggering, it was triggering on all pages. We don't want that. We want the tally form submit, just like Google Analytics event and Google Ads conversion. Okay, and let's preview this again. Right, and let's fill up the form with a dummy email. And now we get all three. So now we have a professional conversion tracking setup. We are tracking Google Analytics, Google Ads, and the metapixel. So we can now go to the Events Manager, and now you can see that in addition to my test events, we actually get the lead. So the previous one, this one was from the page view where I had the trigger accidentally sending this on a page load instead of form submit. All right, and there you have it. A very kind of quick but to the point tutorial on professional analytics for Webflow, pretty much applicable to other platforms as well. So I'm probably gonna share this for those two. Thanks so much for watching, and if you need any help with your analytics and you want to hire a professional to handle complex or simple analytics parts for you, I do this all day, every day. I help my clients set these things up, one-on-one Zoom calls or just via WhatsApp or email. So I would be very happy to get to help you out with your analytics and conversion tracking setup. All right, thanks for watching and see you next time.